Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Srimad Bhagavatam. Commentaries by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda ji Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So in today's satsang, we will discuss the episode of Brahma attempts to delude Krishna. Although Krishna's destruction of Aghasur was magnificent adventure for the cowherd boys, they did not report this wondrous experience to their parents until they were 6 years old. What happened to cause this lapse of 1 year? The story says that after Krishna emerged out of Aghasur, Brahma, the creator, became curious about this great incarnation. He wanted to know more about the extent of Krishna's power and designed a way to test it. So while the boys were having a relaxed and joyous picnic on the banks of the Yamuna river, suddenly Krishna looked around and told them, "I don't see the calves. Let me see what happened to them." Krishna searched everywhere but could not find the calves. When he returned to report this to his companions, he found that they had also vanished. Indeed, Brahma had kidnapped all the calves and all the boys and placed them in a cave in a state of enchanted sleep, just to see the reaction of Krishna. So in other words, he was trying to test Krishna. Having done so, Brahma went away. Krishna immediately realized that Brahma was playing tricks and decided to teach him a lesson. So Krishna himself projected all the calves and cowherd boys exactly as they were to the last detail. Every little dimple and pimple and spots on the cows were all the same. He himself became each and every one. With the appearance of these divine boys and divine calves, the picnicking and rejoicing in the grassy field continued as if nothing had happened. When the day was over, all returned home to the village, but something strange happened. Normally, all the cowherd women would wait specifically to look at Krishna every evening when the boys came home. But now, because Krishna had become all in everything, every boy was the center of the complete affection of his mother, as every calf was the center of its mother's affection. In every home there was an experience of immense sweetness and love. The parents considered their child as their very life, as their very source of joy, as did the mothers of the calves. That state of ecstatic affection and devotion continued for 1 whole year, to the surprise and delight of all. In every home there was Krishna. Every calf was Krishna. When the calves would come home and come near their mothers, they would rush after them, and the cowherds were unable to stop that from happening. They couldn't understand why there was such an overwhelming expression of love. What was the mystery behind all this unusual behavior? One day, Krishna's brother Balram, guessing what had happened, said, "Oh Krishna, what do I see? Things have changed. All the boys and all these calves are being loved by their parents with great intensity. It must be your Maya, your special glory." Then Krishna explained everything and Balram understood. After the passing of that year, Brahma returned to see how Krishna was doing. Having come to Vrindavan, Brahma saw that nothing appeared any different. The cowherd boys were there as well as the calves, exactly the way they had been before. Puzzled, he went back to the cave in which he had placed them, and he saw they were there also. So his mind became confused. Which one was real and which one was the Maya of Krishna? While Brahma was looking at the boys and calves, suddenly he had a vision. He saw that each boy was Krishna and that each Krishna was being adored by the entire creation and by different Brahmas. Then he realized that Lord Krishna was the Brahman of the Upanishad, the one God, the Lord of the Maya. By his Maya, countless word systems existed, and each world system had a Brahma, a creator. So even a creator was nothing but a little wave in the ocean of that divine presence. Brahma, who had developed a certain type of pride that he was the creator, became humble and was overcome with intense love for Krishna. As he again looked at Krishna, he saw Krishna as a child holding in his hand yogurt and rice. Of course, Brahma then brought back all the original cowherd boys and calves that he had kidnapped and fell at the feet of Krishna, offering his adorations. Although one whole year had passed, the cowherd boys were not aware of that because they had been asleep in the cave. You see, the time scale is different in the Devaloka versus our earth plane. So although Brahma only created this illusion for one day on his side, on the earth plane a whole year had passed. All they felt was a momentary lapse of time. So 1 year later, when they returned home, eagerly they told their parents, "Today a big snake came with open jaws and tried to eat us up, but Krishna destroyed him. It was quite an adventure." So for them, that whole year, as if there was a no time gap, as if it was only a moment. Mystical meaning. This intriguing episode that follows the destruction of Aghasur has profound mystic significance. The moment when one steps beyond ego consciousness, one glimpses eternity behind every name and form. Names and forms are creations of Brahma. These names and forms delude the minds of people while furthering the evolution of every soul. But when ego is outstepped, names and forms are transcended. The veil of names and forms is lifted and one experiences Krishna, the divine self, as the essence behind all. Sarvam Brahmamayam Jagat. All is Brahman. That is the intuitional experience gained during advanced samadhi or superconscious state. So led by our karma, we are living in a world of time and space where Brahma has laid down rules, as it were. Under Brahma's direction, every karma within us is led to its fructification. Brahma's world continues birth after birth. Only when we develop profound insight into the goal of self-realization and resolve not to come back to this world anymore are we able to go beyond the world of Brahma, the world of repeated birth and death. When a person has developed profound love for Krishna, love for God, then the world of the Creator is transcended. That transcendence is illustrated in this episode. First, the normal realities dissolve. Krishna turns to look at the cows and they are gone. He looks at the boys, they are also gone. Then by his Maya, he himself becomes awed. When you look out at the world with deep mystical insight, the world is no longer Brahma's world. It is the world of the divine self. When you look within yourself, you are no longer an individual with limited impressions. Deep within you, there is the same reality, Brahman. The external diversity around you and the internal diversity are both taken away from you when you enter into an advanced state of samadhi. That is the state of turiya. You transcend time and space. All becomes Brahman. However, that sense will not continue and that state will not continue forever. We must come back to normal under the perfect realization is attained. So till that time we have to keep on working on this end. So with this, we conclude our satsanga for today. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful story. So even though you may be Brahma, even then compared to Brahman, the eventual creator, we are nothing. He felt nothing but like a blade of grass, because there were countless world systems. In each world system there was a Brahma. So while he had developed that subtle ego, he felt so humbled that he prostrated to Lord Krishna and realized. So why should mortal beings like us have any kind of ego whatsoever? So with this, we conclude our satsanga for today. This is Swami Nikhilanand. Om Tat Sat.